Angela Brasso's torso was found in a field next to the trail that she had been riding her bike on.
21-year-old Angela Brasso had been on a bike ride when she was ambushed and stabbed to death.
Detectives hovered over the body of a young woman. She had been decapitated.
Melanie decides to go on a bike ride. By around 10:30, when Melanie did not return, her mother started calling her friends. Is Melanie there?
I could tell that it was a puddle of red, that it was a puddle of blood. And all of a sudden, as I'm looking at it, I noticed that there are some drag marks that went along over here.
Toward that tree?
Towards that tree, yes. And then went around the tree and was dragged back. You could see the drag marks right here to the canal.
17-year-old Melanie Burness, a junior in high school, had been found dead in the canal not far from where Angela Brasso was found.
These murders became widely known as the Phoenix Canal murders.
Along with the stabbing and the dismemberment, there was another component to these murders, wasn't there?
Yeah, both women were sexually assaulted.
And that meant investigators had a crucial piece of evidence: DNA. Investigators collected the same male DNA from both the victims. But more than 2 decades passed and the canal murders went cold, until science finally caught up with the calendar. In 2014, Colleen Fitzpatrick and her team, Identifinders International, began crunching the data, hoping to provide law enforcement with a name.
We entered the numbers from the forensic profile into our software, and that's where I came up with 6 matches to the name Miller.
You check your files, and what do you find?
I think there were a total of 6 Millers that were on what I called my master list. And I went down through the list, got to Brian Patrick Miller.
Eventually, Detective Schwarzkopf found his prime suspect on that list and discovered that the alleged canal killer had a second identity. A man who dressed up like a comic book superhero and cruised the valley in a decorated car dripping with fake blood. The public knew this man as the zombie hunter.
Police wanted to get Miller's DNA and see if it was a match to the DNA found on Angela Brasso and Melanie Burness's bodies. So Detective Clark Schwarzkopf came up with an elaborate plan to get his DNA. Investigators began surveilling Miller, who worked at an Amazon warehouse.
I went up and introduced myself to Miller. He was in his car.
What did you introduce yourself
I introduced myself as a security consultant.
Schwarzkopf told Miller that thieves had been stealing goods from a warehouse across the way.
I said, would you be interested in working for me as a security officer, watching the building while you're outside?
Did his eyes light up?
Yeah, because it was a good paying job. I said, look, I'll pay you $20 an hour.
On January 2nd, 2015, Schwarzkopf met Miller at this Chili's restaurant to fill out a job application. The cold case unit was behind the scenes, ready to bag anything that had Miller's DNA on it, such as utensils or a glass.
He swallows his hamburger in like 5 bites. Won't take a drink of his water. And I'm sitting there going, are you sure you don't want something else to drink because you just got water? No, I'm good.
Schwarzkopf started to worry this operation would be a bust.
What does he finally do that makes this mission accomplished?
We finally took a drink from the water glass. That's when I knew that, okay, now we've at least got his DNA.